This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you as we kick off hour 2 of the program. Still to come, could there be a Heisman sleeper in the Big 12? We will discuss that. Best bets later on in the show as well. There is a side in Major League Baseball JVT loves, but we're going to kick off this hour in the World Cup because after a day off, we are back in action today with the quarterfinal getting underway. France and Morocco going head-to-head, and our good friend Alex Blowers, kind enough to join us in studio. Not only our VSiN chief engineer is the official title, correct?
Chief engineer.
But moonlighting as a soccer handicapper for us this week.
Yeah,
and
I used to do a bit of writing 2020 to 2022, NBC Sports Edge. So, yeah, picked up the old pen just back for the World Cup.
We're grateful you have. The breakdowns have been awesome.
They've been very well written. I've texted him about it, so I've told him, just for our audience, Alex is very nervous right now. He did not want to do this. And so I told him I'd be nice to him, but I should point out that he is shaking in his boots right now. So
I didn't see any shaking.
This is my make-a-wish for JVT.
That's right.
No, he's been bugging me for a few weeks, so I thought I'd come on.
That's right. That's my last wish. All right. Let's talk about this one. I feel like it's relatively easy. I mean, at least in terms of the ultimate result, but how do we play it? France is taking on Morocco. We mentioned it earlier. The two advance price for France has dipped to like minus 370. We've also got some injuries. So walk us through, could there be any chance that France finds itself into a dogfight today?
Possibly. This Morocco side is really good. These two played each other in 2022 in the World Cup semi-final. France won that comfortably 2-0. We're back 4 years later. Morocco are a different side, technically a lot better. They've got a lot of youth, a lot of talent. What they've gone is normally you have like France will take players from Africa. You've seen Morocco go out to France, out to the Netherlands, out to Belgium. They've brought players, recruited players to them, and it's really raised the quality of their squad.
All right, so how do we play this then today?
So in my article, if you read it, I actually banked on Deschamps going to a 4-3-3. He's a very pragmatic manager. I thought that coming into this game against a high-quality opponent, Morocco, he would be pragmatic, tighten up, conservative. He hasn't. He's gone to a 4-2-3-1, kept the same formation, same players. But the interesting change here is what Morocco's done. I know Sabiri's out injured. Rahimi, he was expected to start. He's not. They've moved Brahim Diaz up top, and on the right wing they've brought in plays for Sunderland. I forget his name, but he's a pacey winger. So it looks like Morocco are probably going to defend deep and go to hit France on the counter-attack. So I think my original bet was under 3.5 goals and France money line combined at plus 108. And I still feel that's a good bet, looking at the lineups, looking at how this has played out.
So
Stormy does want to, I just want to make this clear really quickly because I'm sure Stormy's wondering. I know what it means, but what does pragmatic mean?
You're such a jerk. Let's move this forward big picture with France because I have futures on them just to make the semifinal and to win the World Cup, period. I believe you also are somebody who's invested in France in the futures market. Are they still the biggest threat to win it in your eyes? How do you see that shaking out when all is said and done?
I do, yeah. They do have the strongest squad. They have the best attackers. They have the most depth. And they probably have the most experienced manager in Deschamps. He's been with them since 2012. I think 2014 got to the quarterfinals. 2018 won it. 2022 got to the final, and they lost on penalties, which, penalties is a coin toss. So he's someone who is experienced, who knows how to navigate through these stages of the tournament, and with the players he's got at his disposal, with the way they're playing, yeah, I think they are still the right favourite.
The real question is it coming home? The Three Lions. You and I were texting about this. I think they've been underrated. I think their run to this point has been a little underrated. I was sending some statistics at you. I've watched them a lot, obviously, as many of us have. I think because they haven't had a lot of these sexy performances on the final scoreboard, maybe they're being a little undervalued, but I bet them at plus 470 to win the whole thing. I think they're being undervalued.
Yeah, I just think, why not? Why can't it come home? I think Norway's a big challenge, but I think we do have enough to beat them. Next game, Argentina, and then whoever get in the final, France or Spain. I think we do have a really good chance of winning it. there's a lot of negativity around England, around the team. I think back at the media, going into the Mexico game, there was a lot of negativity on them, but I wasn't. I was actually fancied our chances. I didn't think Mexico were that good a side. I didn't think the Azteca was that intimidating, considering the quality of our players and the stage they've played at. And I bet them England minus 1.5 goals. Didn't come in. Terrible red card decision. I don't know if you saw the news today, but Kwanzaa has been suspended for 2 games.
No, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly why.
Yeah.
I mean, he was booked or sent off for serious foul play, same as Balogun. Balogun got a 1-game suspended, and Kwanzaa got a 2-game suspension.
So that is one of those things where just adding to why the reversal for Balogun was so crazy is that typically when they do the review of these red cards, right, it's to make the punishment worse, which is what happened in this case. So, but like, why does that happen?
Exactly. Why does that happen? It doesn't make sense, does it? It's completely against precedent. It's never happened before. And that's why you see so much outrage from the football world, because it does not make sense.
How much do all of you as diehard fans hate FIFA?
It's not FIFA, it's Infantino.
Okay.
I just feel like when I was growing up, FIFA was like an organization. It was, as much as Sepp Blatter was in charge of it, it was FIFA presented as an organization. But now you have Infantino, who is trying to be the face of FIFA. He's trying to be the head of it. He's trying to take control. He has very much pick-me energy, very much trying to be famous, and it's really tiresome.
Maybe you shouldn't be on your 7th prime minister, like 6 years, and maybe have a strong leader to lean on a little bit more, huh? All right.
Hold on real quick. On a lighter note, because this obviously ties into the Norway-England game, Erling Haaland has been unbelievable. Before we started this segment, Alex goes, "Have you Googled Erling Haaland?" And I was like, "No." And I did. You get all these little Norwegian cartoons doing the row on the bottom when you Google Erling Haaland. So check that out in your free time.
Okay, so you think they can beat them. I want to ask a tactical question here from my media-eyed observation of somebody who watches Premier League maybe every 2 weeks and enjoys the sport of soccer. I think the English can handle Erling Haaland. From what I have watched, I liked this comp. He is Shaq with Kobe's motivation. So he's just really good at what he does. He's a big physical bruiser in the middle of the box, not as skilled, but I think the English are big enough up front that they can kind of negate some of those crossers and the opportunities that he takes advantage of. They haven't been as good defensively either, and I think those two things lead to England having a pretty good shot here. I think that to qualify is pretty cheap. Goes back to what I said about just winning the whole thing as well, and maybe even laying a goal and a half with them. But tactfully, is that an accurate assessment of watching Haaland and what your team can do to him?
Yeah, Haaland is probably one of the best forwards in the world. Yeah. A lot of the questions, a lot of the talk is how are England going to handle him? But yeah, how are Norway going to handle Jude Bellingham?
Right.
How are they going to handle Harry Kane? Those two have been phenomenal. Harry Kane, up there, one of the best finishers in the world. And Jude Bellingham, probably my favourite England performance, his against Mexico. He was amazing. Scored 2 goals. Great late arriving in the box. So, yeah, I'm really high on England. I fancy our chances. I think we can take care of Norway.
From a Golden Boot perspective, where do you sit on this right now, especially since Messi added to the tally once again and Argentina is a significant favorite against Switzerland on the Saturday doubleheader?
I would probably go with Messi. I mean, if you watched the Argentina-Egypt game, you saw the amount of things that went their way. And if you could look throughout the whole tournament, the amount of things that have gone their way. I think Kwanzaa being banned for 2 games rules him out of the semi-final. I think, yeah, if I was to go touch the Golden Boot, I would probably lean on Messi.
All right, let's talk about one of the better stories so far of the tournament. The Spanish have yet to give up a goal. They get Belgium coming up. What have we made of this defense for Spain, and are they going to continue to do this against a Belgium team? Like, you brought this up in your article with the USA-Belgium game, which was the emotional aspect of the Belgians and the whole red card thing and really playing with some of that. Stormy asked the question the other day, is there an emotional letdown from that? You put a lot of that, if you're Belgium, into that game against USA, and now you've got to take on this tenacious defensive side in the Spanish.
Yeah, I'll start by saying Spain have been awesome defensively. They haven't conceded yet. They've only conceded 30 shots, and Unai Simons only had to make 6 saves. So defensively, they're brilliant. And the obvious bet here in this game is Spain to win to 0, plus 185. But I don't really something my gut tells me not to. And the way is, I'll start with Belgium manager, Rudy Garcia. His contract ends at the end of this World Cup. It's possibly his last high-profile job. He's 62 years old. He's made changes here that you wouldn't make if you were continuing the job. Against Senegal, he took De Bruyne and Doku off. Against USA, he didn't start him. He went with Luca Becchio and I can't remember, Vanaken. He started him. 22 minutes into that, Unana ruptured his ACL, brought on Vraskin. He sort of stumbled. He's made bold changes, but he sort of stumbled across his best 11. And then the other factor as well is Lukaku. Physically not in good shape. He's only played 39 minutes this year of football. Picked up an injury for Napoli. He's come off the bench around the 60-minute mark. He scored in his last 3 games. He's in really good form. So for me, with Rudy Garcia just with nothing to play for, and Lukaku in the form he's in, I just, again, don't feel comfortable playing Spain to win 2-0. So I'm going to go Spain money line and under 3.5 goals at plus 120.
Okay, beautiful. And remember, if you want more breakdowns, you want all of the bets, if you go to vsin.com, all of the articles are up there that Alex has done. It's also on the vsin.com/picks page. You get unlimited access to all of it if you are a VSiN Pro subscriber, and our football special is going on right now. Just $175. Get unlimited access to everything up at vsin.com. Alex, you are the man. Thank you so much for doing this. We appreciate it. I know we forced you. You're the best.
No, thank you very much. I had a great time.
Alex Flowers, everybody. vsin.com/subscribe. Again, make sure you get all of the work each and every day. We'll be right back.
Hello. So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So we just got some interesting news in the NBA as we welcome you back here to Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. SiriusXM Channel 158. He's Jonathan Von Tobel. I'm Stormy Bonantoni. The Los Angeles Clippers, we know, made a deal with the Toronto Raptors to send their star Kawhi Leonard back out there to Toronto. Well, we get the news a moment ago from ESPN's Shams Charania that the deal could not be finalized until the NBA's investigation with the Clippers is complete. Of course, all of this tracking back to the aspiration questions and how the funds for Kawhi Leonard's salary were tracked. Go ahead.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to quibble a little bit with some of the words you said because
Okay.
I do think it's important. It's not that it can't be finalized. The Raptors do not want to finalize it until the league comes to a decision. So the reason why that matters is it's not like the league is saying, hey, hold on until we're done. The Raptors are saying out loud to the NBA, bro, finish this investigation or else we're not going to do this. The Raptors in their statement have said, regarding our planned trade with the Clippers for Kawhi Leonard, the league office has informed us that as a result of the ongoing investigation involving Clippers, we would assume the risk of any potential outcome of the investigation impacting Kawhi. Something that you have brought up,
Yeah.
I have brought up, everybody and their
That's what I
mother
was
has
gonna say.
brought up.
This was a big discussion topic when the trade came down, period.
Yep, and so in light of this, we will wait until the league's investigation is complete. The Raptors remain eager to bring Kawhi back to Toronto and look forward to a swift resolution for our players, our organization, and our fans. The Clippers have also released a statement about this, saying that they have, of course, participated in every single thing in terms of the investigation. We recognize the uncertainty that this has created and the impact it has had for our team, our fans, the Raptors organization, their fans, and the players whose future remain affected while this process continues. We remain confident when the facts are fairly evaluated thoroughly. The NBA will confirm exactly what we've said from the beginning. We have not done what we are accused of doing. Both teams are essentially telling Adam Silver, bleep or get off the pot. Mm-hmm. You're holding this up, and what's weird is you would assume that both of these teams communicated with each other and then communicated with Adam Silver and the league to an extent. Hey, we know what we're doing here. We're trading for a guy that's under investigation. You guys are going to be done soon, right? And instead, now this comes down, and the Raptors, good for them to an extent, are saying, we're not doing this. We're not going to assume. Can you imagine if you trade for Kawhi and then the decision comes down suspended for 80 games? You just don't know. So I think it's amazing that both of these teams, in a very professional and I don't think it's passive aggressive, but it's a very professional way of telling the league, hurry the F up, because we're not going to do this unless you tell us what's going on. And Adam Silver, I mean, what else do you need? What's happening?
Yeah. Also, for all of the little details that we keep on seeing slip out for the LeBron James trade, for example, we haven't heard any even slight rumor of information coming out about where this investigation is leaning one way or another. It hasn't been brought up with the exception of, there could be a suspension, there could be a penalty, but none of those insiders have had any intel or information on whether or not that would happen.
Right.
So it feels useless to me. From an NBA Finals perspective, there has been at least a little bit of a dip, and I don't know if this just happened or has happened in the last few days, and I just didn't see it. But we talked initially when this trade did happen that Toronto went down to around 20-1 to win an NBA Finals, and they are 25-1 right now.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking right now. They're 9-1 to win the Eastern Conference, so that's going to be the interesting aspect.
It was 8-1.
Asking, I think, are we going to have Mike Palm tomorrow? So maybe we can ask Mike about this tomorrow, which is just from the odds maker's perspective, and I'm sure Mitchell Paul will be all over this too. When you get news like this, what do you do? Because that's a big chess piece. I mean, that's a lot of different things and transactions that kind of get held up by this. But it's also just, as I have said 1,000 times, I believe the Raptors, with the deal that was constructed, could arguably be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. But if they don't have Kawhi, they're not 9-1 to win the Eastern Conference. Teams like the Heat or maybe even the Pacers could move ahead of them in the pecking order when you're talking about making odds for the conference. So how you want to handle that is pretty interesting, too, from a bookmaker's perspective. Because in the statement, the Raptors are saying, we want Kawhi. We want to bring him back. But as of right now, he's still a Clipper. And that changes everything when you're talking about the complexity of the Eastern Conference.
All of these deals, by the way, so we learned about so many of them a week ago, but none of them could be finalized until earlier this week on Monday. And I believe it was that noon Eastern time when the calendar finally flips and you can make all of these contracts do. What I thought was funny earlier in the week is all of the outside noise and people saying, well, is Paul George actually going to get approved, or is it going to be a Max Crosby? And that they do the physical and nope, can't do it, change their mind, buyer's remorse. But that did end up going through. So all good there on that.
I'm shaking my head because as some points out, like Fred Katz, who covers the Knicks, covered the Knicks for a while, he works for the Athletic. But as he points out, because obviously with the Summer League here, it's like a big NBA convention. So Adam Silver has his, Summer League press conference. But it's next week. It's like, please, there's no way that you can drag this out with now both teams stating that they're not going to do this until the investigation's done. If there's not a resolution by the time we get to next week. Because here's the thing, too, because Zach Cohen, our Harvard Handicappers, NBA Bigfoot, senior editor, all the titles that he has, as he had texted in our group chat, which is just, nobody cares. At this point, do you care anymore?
No.
Does anybody care? Would there really be that much outrage if they were just like, you know what, we're taking a first from the Los Angeles Clippers. We don't like the way they conducted themselves. Boom, Kawhi, go. And, as many made the joke, flee from the FBI and go across the border. Just get this done with, dude.
Or Adam Silver is just going to answer the questions the same way that Brett Yormark has it at Big 12 Media Days this week and just say, thank you so much for your question.
Appreciate it.
I'm not going to answer it, but really appreciate your question.
I appreciate it.
so there's that.
That annoyed me, too, because I was thinking about that after we played that from Yormark. If Media Day is not the time to ask you about Brendan Sorsby, when is? But
that's what we were saying. That's why it was such a big deal. Like, what do you mean now's not the time?
Yeah.
The only way that that's an acceptable response is if you also add on, we're going through pending litigation right now. I cannot speak on this thing. Cannot and will not, because it's not the time, even though it's a media response at media days. Of course, you're going to be asked these questions. Have you been prepped for God knows how long about the questions that you're going to get asked here? Neither here nor there. For these last couple minutes, do you want to just stick with NBA here real quickly? Because we talked about it a little bit earlier. Today is the first day of NBA Summer League officially getting underway. This first game in the next 10 minutes or so, if you want to go back to just giving your thoughts on that for anyone trying to jump in and bet it. Is this the same as, how people on the outside looking in always say, oh, if you're betting the NFL preseason, you're ridiculous. I think you get the same type of thought process with NBA Summer League, but do you agree or disagree with that? How do you see NBA Summer League? You've gotten really into the weeds.
Okay.
You know
what, Stormy? I think is terrible if you bet on the NBA Summer League.
No. But I'm saying, we've talked a lot about it, but for people from the outside in who might have missed some of our previews earlier this week, you've been very strategic in how you approach these rosters and how you look on a game-to-game basis.
But I also just think game-to-game, that's the important part. Look, this is preseason basketball. This is preseason NFL. This is based on information. You're going to want to track rosters. And I think I told the story on the air, but I know I've said it before. But Kelly Bidlin and I, our favorite story about the Summer League is one year it was, actually speaking of, Raptors and Pistons. The Pistons believed they had James Wiseman on that roster, Asar Thompson. They had some pretty big names. Jaden Ivey was on that roster. And they were obviously, from a Summer League perspective, a very highly rated team. So in this game, they're playing the Raptors. They're, let's call them 8.5-point favorites, okay? So Kelly and I are sitting in the stands watching them warm up, and I kind of elbow Kelly. I'm like, do you see James Wiseman? Do you see Jaden Ivey?
Yeah.
Do you see Asar Thompson? And he's kind of like, no, we don't. So luckily, we were credentialed at the time, so you just kind of go down and wanted to check out the warm-ups. They weren't even on the bench. They weren't there. Market had no idea. So it was 8.5. So again, it's just about information and being able to tell whether or not there is going to be a starting lineup or anything like that, if there's any changes. And that's basically how it is. I mean, we talked about some of these numbers today. The Timberwolves getting bet up to 4.5. I even said that against New Orleans. I said, it's an interesting move because you just don't really know that much about these rosters. So maybe the market's looking at these rosters and saying, we believe that the Timberwolves are X amount of points better, so we're going to bet this up. And at the beginning of these tournaments, it's a little bit of a guessing game. It wouldn't be surprising at all to see the New Orleans Pelicans come out here and just smoke Minnesota, because this is really just based on basic roster evaluation. We do have some statistics for these guys. They've obviously played basketball at some level with some team somewhere in the world. So you just have to find those statistics and do the work to find it out. But even at the end of the day, much like spring training, there could be times where your strategy for spring training is, hey, buddy, I need you to go out. You're going to just throw all sliders today. And nobody would, seriously, because they just work on that sort of stuff. So you just don't know what's going to happen, and that could lead to some pretty poor performances. So you don't know what they're working on. You can evaluate the roster so much. So it is always interesting to see some of these moves, like the one we've had for Minnesota, which opened 1.5 up to 4.5. And it's the first game, based really nothing more than roster evaluation at this point.
Total in that one, 176.5. Also, go ahead, sorry.
No, nothing. You're fine. I was a little nervous. I thought you were going to bring up the news about the San Antonio Spurs and our connection to it, and we don't need to go down that path.
Google it. Actually, it's all over Twitter. You can't really miss it at this point. And it's an NBA story.
Hey,
it's a headline.
We're not involved, but
But
he was on our network.
We wanted him to be a regular during the
We did.
We talked about it.
I mean, he's got nothing going on.
That's okay. You can't laugh about that. That's not good. That game, by the way.
Call him up, Justin.
The Timberwolves and Pelicans set to tip off in the next 10 to 20 minutes over there on Amazon Prime. Again, Minnesota 4.5-point favorites there, total 176.5. And you mentioned our friend Zach Cohen, host of Hardwood Handicapper, has been doing a great job throughout the course of the NBA season, crushed it on the NBA draft. He has a breakdown on the podcast about his approach to the NBA Summer League as well. He's going to be writing regular articles. I was surprised you didn't want to write an article. This is your favorite thing to do.
I am, but I'm helping out.
Football?
Yep, really happily working on the college football betting guide and a little bit more. So, and Zach's doing a pretty good job, obviously. We don't need to take away the thunder with what Zach has been doing.
He's busy with Wimbledon. He's got other stuff going on, too. The dude
Wimbledon's
never slows
in the
down.
semifinals are over. Come on.
we got to – semifinals aren't over.
I mean, they're like, we're
We got
pretty much
to
over.
step aside here on Money Moves. When we return, we'll head back to the World Cup. Chris Vaselli of Covers.com, get his perspective. He has a very strong opinion on the game coming up in just about 30 minutes. So get ready if you're trying to make some last-minute bets for France and Morocco. We've got you covered coming up after the break.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
24 hours without a World Cup game was 24 hours too many. As we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. After a day off, we got the quarterfinals getting underway today. In about 30 minutes, the first match, France and Morocco. Stormy Bonatoni, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Excited to have Chris Vaselli join us here on the Progressive Guest Line to help us break it all down. Analyst over at Covers.com. You can follow him on X at Mick_Silly3. And I know you do have a bet on this game, so for people who are trying to dive in last minute, what's your angle for today?
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. I think France is kind of being undervalued a little bit in the market. So I'm playing France money line. I know it's -175. To boost it a little bit higher, we're going to add Mbappe to score. We're getting about +130 for that little SGP there. When you look at this game, I think France is the best team in the tournament still. Obviously, their attack can come at you in waves. The Olise Mbappe connection is just something that's been very fun to watch for the first 5 games of the tournament. This Morocco side, yes, they're good. They're on a long unbeaten run. But, some of the lineup changes they made coming into this game, adding a 21-year-old winger out wide to, deal with the likes of Elise and Dewey. That's not exactly kind of where you want to throw him into the water. They added a left back that's kind of seen sparing minutes, over the last, I would say, 2 months of football action. It's not exactly, a lineup that looks promising for Morocco. So I think France is ultimately going to just overwhelm them. Score, at least 2 goals like they've done in 16 of the last 18 matches. And yeah, France money line in regulation and, throw in Mbappe to score for a little bit of plus 130 juice.
Worth pointing out, we had discussed this a couple of times, but the 2 advance price now up to minus 400. Yeah. So that was really...
Your handicap did make me feel good, though, as somebody who has France over 1.5 for the team total. So I like that breakdown.
I was actually going to kind of go in that direction. I know you didn't give us anything on it, but do you have a sense for total-wise how this might go? Not just for France, but just the game in general?
I think it's going to go over 2.5. I just don't think that Morocco is able to hold out France for the full 90 minutes. I think France is the inevitable, just like Erling Haaland is, just like Harry Kane is. They always find a way to score, 1, 2, 3 goals. Morocco could get a consolation goal late, when kind of France kind of takes their foot off the pedal. I do lean over 2.5 goals, just based on France doing the heavy lifting in this one.
And we have seen the odds move in that direction as well. It was even money to the over yesterday. Now looking at minus 115 on DraftKings at least. We have seen some of these games, though, that have surprised us, right? And I think even the last match for France, I would say the result and the way that played out would be one of them. What would be the argument for Morocco in this match? If they could keep up, how would they do it?
They would have to hold out for 90 minutes defensively. I think that's the only way they can pull off an upset. They're kind of set up in a way to play on the counterattack, but this France backline, Saliba, Upamecano, they're experienced. They have plenty of, they're pacey. They're quick. They're strong. I just don't see a way where Morocco can kind of overcome the odds. The odds right now, obviously implying 62% France to win this game. If they win 6 out of 10 times, I think that's closer to 8 out of 10. I just don't see a way for Morocco to stem the attack and kind of pull off the upset in this game.
All right, let's go to tomorrow. And I like the way that you're going to play this because I was telling this to Stormy. I have played Spain to win to nil each of their last 2 matches, and it has gotten there. But I think Belgium's a little bit of a different animal. So how are we going to handle this?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. Obviously, the market right now is leaning both teams to score yes at minus 134. That's the favorite, which kind of is a head scratcher just based on Spain's defensive ability. But I do think Belgium is the key team in this bet. They offer something that Austria and Portugal couldn't offer against Spain in their knockout rounds, which is willing runners in behind that can trouble this Spanish back line. They have creativity in the midfield. They have strength in the midfield. Yes, they're not probably going to see the ball, for the extended stretches of this game. But this Belgium side takes their chances well. They lead the tournament with 70 touches or 70 attempts on target, 70 attempts on goal inside the box this tournament, which is far more than Spain. And they're only behind them just slightly in expected goals, 10.28 to 10.49. So this Belgian team is good. They can score. They can create chances. And we know what we're going to get with Spain. They're likely to find the back of the net. Belgium needs to find a goal to, get that goal and, possibly force extra time or of a shock. But, I like both teams to score at minus 134.
Yeah, those of us in the U.S. know all too well that Belgium can score. And honestly, with Spain, you just have to imagine they're going to allow a goal at some point. So why not in this spot coming up tomorrow? Meanwhile, we've got the Saturday doubleheader, Argentina and Switzerland. And then the first game of the 2, Norway and England. First ever World Cup quarterfinal for Norway. Erling Haaland has been a star. Meanwhile, England had to grind out that 3-2 win at the Azteca. They get it done. They have another monster goal scorer of their own in Harry Kane. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, this game should be probably the pick of the litter for the 4 quarterfinal games. I'm going over 2.5 goals, minus 138. I just don't think we live in a world where, we want to bet unders on Harry Kane and Erling Haaland squaring off with the way they're in fine form. This England side, they kind of feel a little bit differently than they have in tournaments past. They're playing more freely. They're attacking. They're playing on the front foot, where in tournaments past, they've kind of been playing not to lose, which I think makes a big difference in terms of mentality. Obviously, they're getting secondary scoring. They did well at the Azteca to kind of overcome that incredible atmosphere despite going down to 10 men. This Norway side, I've watched them closely through World Cup qualifying into the the World Cup tournament here. They've not wavered from their identity. They attack you in waves. They've got plenty of creativity in the midfield. They got pacey wingers out wide with Antonio Nusa leading the way. And honestly, would you bet against Erling Haaland or Harry Kane, finding the back of the net? I won't be that guy. I think we're going to get fireworks here. I like over 2.5 goals at -138.
Chris, where are you at just with England in general? Because I've been making the case. I bet them plus 470 to win the whole thing. I think they've been a little underrated with the way that they've been playing. You mentioned it's been more freely, but I've been impressed.
Yeah, they've been good. I do think they're going to meet their maker in Argentina in the semifinals. I've got Argentina winning the tournament even before the tournament began, and I kind of had this circled as one of those games where it could come up, and I do think Argentina has the edge. England has been good, but I think Argentina's killer mentality, that just never give up attitude, that they know how to get there, they know how to get the job done, and obviously with the best player on the planet still repping their jersey, I give the edge to Argentina. But full marks for England for getting to the semifinals. I think they'll get over the Norway hump in the quarters.
So if you are a believer in Argentina, then obviously you are come Saturday as well against Switzerland. They're around -145 on that 90-minute line. Is that the best way to play it, or what's your approach?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit hesitant to actually double down on, backing Argentina to get the job done. I do think they are the better team from back to front. So Argentina moneyline plus Messi to score or assist, you're checking in about plus 110. I think that added value is a little bit more intriguing than just backing them on the money line. Obviously, if Argentina is going to get the job done, Messi's going to be a big part of that win. This Switzerland side is one that I kind of, told people that were underrated coming into the tournament. They play good football, but quite honestly, they were very lucky not to go out in the round of 16 against Colombia. They missed a bunch of sitters, and in penalty kicks, anything can happen essentially. And like I said earlier, the comeback from down 2-0 with 11 minutes left to go, many teams would kind of throw in the towel. You just saw kind of a team that had leadership, had, that killer instinct that can, believe they can come back from that. And obviously with Messi doing Messi things, I just don't see Switzerland kind of overcoming that. But Argentina money line and Messi to score or assist, plus 110 is some good value for that game.
I'm glad you bring up Messi, because obviously he's been a revelation in the tournament. He scored in every single match. He leads all goal scorers of what he's been able to do with eight to this point. Do you think that we're getting a bit of a discount? And I ask this selfishly because I did bet an anytime goal scorer on Lionel Messi coming up on Saturday. I found it -115. Are we getting a discount because of what Switzerland did to hold Colombia at bay the way that they did? Because he was out to -170 in other matches we've seen so far.
Yeah, you would think you're getting a discount just based on Switzerland's defensive abilities. They do have a good compact unit that controls the midfield. They have a good back line. Akanji leads the way there. He's a very good defender. But ultimately, I just think Messi always finds a way to get it done. He's just inevitable, kind of like the way Harry Kane is, Erling Haaland is. The cheaper the price, it kind of gives you a little bit of a second guess and a head scratcher. But anytime you can get Messi, under, I would say, -200 to score, you're probably going to back it more often than not.
Chris, really appreciate your insight today. Thank you for doing this, and enjoy the game.
Thank you. You as well.
Chris Vasili, everybody. Again, make sure you check out all the work over there at covers.com. A lot of what he was saying was kind of music to my ears for our best bets coming up next segment.
Of course it was.
Should I be scared?
I don't know if you should be scared.
Well, somebody wiser than me that watches the sport as much as he does, compared to me that's just kind of throwing darts sometimes.
I don't know the way you're going. The way you're going.
Don't do this to me.
Red hot.
After what you did last time.
Football handicapper on the network.
You're the worst.
Even better than Alex Blewis.
I had to take a day off because I did so bad on Friday.
Yeah, you're still red hot.
Or no, what was it? Friday, Tuesday.
Red hot.
On Tuesday. We'll get back today. I do like that Lionel Messi play though. Like the fact that you can find as low as -110, it just wasn't available to Sportsbook. I could bet -130 is the highest price I've seen. So as we always say, shop around. But -115, -110 on Lionel Messi to score a goal. Let's go.
Rooting for Argentina is like rooting for the Empire in Star Wars.
Well, I've already reached the point where
they're evil. For those who don't get the reference.
My chance to knock them out was against Egypt. So now I just have to ride the wave at this point. Okay, we will be right back, wrapping up this Thursday edition of Money Moves next with our best bets. And Patty Pimlet said what?
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The VSiN NFL betting guide out now, folks. And whether you're betting futures, win totals, division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl, or more, our guide helps you get ahead of the market before training camp begins. Inside, you get breakdowns of all 32 teams, projected win totals, best bets from the VSiN experts, futures analysis, power ratings, and more. Get it today with our football special for just $175. And the sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. Emphasize every single sport. When hockey gets here, you get it. When college basketball gets here, you get it. When the association gets here, you get it. All of it. So make sure you check it out. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe, VSIN.com/subscribe. You're not allowed to say anything.
I have to, though.
What?
I have to. I thought that was so funny because typically when I do some of those reads and everything like that, I know that I have this Italian hand that goes a little bit wild sometimes when I'm saying it. But the enthusiasm with which you have the hand motions going
Selling
was
a product.
very impressive.
Speaking of enthusiasm, there is no greater showman than I believe Conor McGregor.
Fair.
When he is at the peak of his powers. When he has the gift of gab, when it's flowing, when he's promoting a fight.
Even when he's not at the peak of his powers, even when he's got like a broken ankle and he's laying on the edge of the octagon, he still grabs the mic and has incredible things to say.
Correct. Now, one of his bangers was obviously "Who the bleep is that guy?" when he was being spoken to at a media press conference. And, you know, I'm really excited for this card this weekend. Kind of snuck up on me. But you know me, I'm like a closet MMA guy. Really enjoy it, especially like the big events. I used to follow it a lot more when I was younger. And we get Max Holloway and Conor McGregor today. And let's let Conor McGregor sell it. What is he going to do to Max Holloway?
You know, I plan to contort Max's body into such uncomfortable positions and have my way with him. That's it.
That's it. All right, I'm in. He's going to do it. He's going to contort his body. That's it. That's all he's got. I am so fired up for this. We had media availability the other day. It's simple. It's clean. It's cut. And Conor's ready to roll to take on Max Holloway. I think Holloway will beat him. We'll get to more of that tomorrow. I believe Dave Ross is going to join us.
Yes.
So we're going to have
definitely
Dave
gonna
Ross's
have to play
thoughts
this
on
out
that.
again tomorrow. That's
Absolutely
amazing.
fantastic. Also, a great piece of audio that we got yesterday as well. Paddy Pimblett, who is a showman of his own, but not as strong as Conor McGregor, but is also English, was asked about his excitement because you get to fight also on the day your country takes the pitch and faces Norway. Paddy, how do you feel about this?
You fight on Saturday night. England is also playing Norway. What are you more nervous about, the fight or the soccer?
I'm not nervous about either.
What are you more excited about?
What do you think, lad? Something that 11 other fellas are going to do or something that I'm going to do?
Good answer.
Yeah, that was a bad question.
I'm so looking forward to this card. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
What makes it even funnier is that both of these sound bites are from fighters who are underdogs in their respective fights as well.
Correct.
That much better.
Oh, dude, I mean, it's just going to be great. But Sandy, it was going to be his opponent, so I'm going to be very excited to see that fight. Pimblett's been great. Bet against him his last time, and I lost, but I think the fight should deliver. He's a really good fighter. We'll have more on this tomorrow, but I wanted to play both of these as I'm kind of getting hyped up and getting into the fighting spirit. And I saw both of these clips, and I was like, come on now. This is fighting spirit here.
Patty's a plus 130 dog to Benoit. Total round sitting 2.5, minus 160 to the under. So the thought is that Paddy Pimblett's actually going to be done relatively early in this one. Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. Holloway minus 225 on the money line there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that has finish written all over it between those two. We'll see. And by the way, did you see the ESPN put together the side-by-side of Conor and the last time he fought and then the time he's fighting now? Like, you know, it's like the media availability, so he's in his, like, trunks and, you know, shirtless and everything. And it reminded me of Alex Jones, the InfoWar guys, when he was selling the product. And it was just like two pictures of him before and after. And one of them, he just looked exactly the same, but he was just more red and still just as fat.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're right. That's funny.
Oh, man. I'm so fired up for this. We'll have some best bets for it, too, but very excited. Very excited.
Also, even though I know our boy Dave Ross has had this week off on vacation, He, as you mentioned, is going to join us tomorrow and was still teaming up with Rob Moreno this week for the First Strike podcast. So that is available for you. If you're not already putting the automatic downloads on for the pod, you should, because they talk about things early in the week. Numbers change, obviously, as you get closer to the weekend, but they get ahead of a lot of really good things. As you show me the picture. Yes, he's
just redder.
Not even tanner. He's just more red.
Just more red.
So, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more coming up tomorrow. That said, we do have some best bets we need to recap and look ahead to what has been officially added to the account for today. I didn't have anything yesterday. So how about you?
How about needing every bit of this? The tempo. They were competitive with the Valkyries, and at one point it actually led in the second half, but almost let go of the rope. Depending on the number you got, they did. But plus 8.5 gets there with the tempo yesterday against the Valkyries. Valkyries team is really good, man. They continue to really push forward. And win a lot of these games. What happened? What do you do?
Sorry, I accidentally kicked the microphone from under here and it's tipping over, so I was trying to save it.
That's what you get for putting it down there.
Also, didn't that close 7.5? So Lane's right on the 8.
Yeah, so it was a tough spot, a little bit of a middle there for the books, but tempo get there, the only winner. And with that, we move on. What do you got?
Okay, 2 bets for me today. We've talked about them plenty, but worth rehashing on the way out here, especially with this France-Morocco game set to get underway. I did lay minus 130 on the over 1.5 goals for the team total for France specifically. They are rolling 14-2 goal differential, no goals conceded in either of their knockout games so far. I thought about both teams to score because looking at how Morocco has performed, unbeaten in their last 34 matches, scoring in 32 of those, I ended up just going with France, and I feel like it's boring, but I just feel so much more confident on them being able to get the job done than I do Morocco. Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, all the talent that they have, they're averaging 2.7 goals per match, so let's keep that rolling and just stick to the France side of this. And then looking ahead to Saturday's doubleheader as well, I just thought this price on Lionel Messi to have an anytime goal was too short at minus 115. He scored at least 1 goal in 9 straight and 12 of Argentina's last 14 World Cup games historically, 8 goals in 5 games so far this tournament. He is going to continue to take money leading up to Saturday, so I anticipate this getting higher. But I feel like at this point in the week, because of what Switzerland did against Colombia and because of just some of the big picture thoughts on Switzerland's defense, you're getting a much better price than we've seen at various other points in the tournament. I said earlier, we've seen in a couple games anywhere between minus 150 and minus 170 for him to be an anytime goal scorer. So minus 115 for something he's done on a nightly basis. Why not take the discounted price?
Cool. Like it. All right. For me, just the one. We talked about this in Major League Baseball. Seattle Mariners, they're going to come up here in about 3 hours from now, so a little bit less than that. But they were sending Bryce Miller out there against one Jansen Junk. I'll just take the low-hanging fruit to lay the short price, minus 120 on the road to the Seattle Mariners. Let me down the other day when you incorrectly thought that I had a winner against the Marlins. But I do think they can get this done here today. So we'll go Mariners, minus 120 for the full game. Money line, as you put it, Fishermen versus Fish. One would assume one has the advantage there, but the Fish is wily.
The Fish have won 2 in a row, so we got to see if the Fishermen can finally take one over. And it's funny that you brought up earlier when we were handicapping this game at large, you're like, oh, I get them mixed up sometimes. The names are too similar. That's exactly what happened in the rundown, was you just wrote the wrong name, and so I graded it as such, even though you verbalized that you took the other side. I didn't remember that. But it happens to the best of us. What else do you have going on?
We're going to Summer League today.
So are you leaving straight from here? Because one game's already underway.
Yes, I'm going to try to get down there because 1:30, the game that I really want to watch at the start, is the Hawks matchup that is going to get started at, I believe, 1:30 at the Thomas and Mack Center. So that'll be one that I am seated for. We'll do live radio there from 3 o'clock as well for local. But again, I'll go back to your boy. Get to watch your boy Kingston Flemings.
Yes.
See how it goes.
Let's go.
As well as Keyshawn Gilbert and former Iowa State player, did play at UNLV, but I just think those two are really good. And I don't know if Keyshawn Gilbert's going to start. I haven't seen any starting lineups. But the defensive upside of that backcourt in a Summer League setting like this, when you're talking about more of effort than anything else on that end, if you've got 2 guys who are going to defend the backcourt really well in a setting that I think if you've got ball handlers / guards that are really good, you've got a little bit of an advantage, then I think that's going to be pretty good for Atlanta. So really curious to see what that looks like. And judging by all the pictures, we got full houses already. Everybody's down there and ready to go. And, of course, Devonta Peterson late tonight will be a ton of fun. 6 p.m., not super late, but 9 o'clock for those of you on the worst coast.
The Jazz, a 2.5-point favorite in that game against the Wizards, total 186.5. Worth noting, the game that is underway right now between the Timberwolves and Pelicans, New Orleans has a slight lead here, 21-18. They closed a 4.5-point dog. We saw Minnesota taking money, bet up from 2.5 to 4.5. They're getting 1.5 now. So if anybody is interested in jumping in on the team that was the favorite and there was a lot of belief in getting back in this thing, you're getting some pretty advantageous prices right now.
To answer some questions, we only got a couple, but Montreal Max did ask or did say that people always get surprised finding out that you're 5'10" because the chair that you sit in makes you look 5'4".
Short torso gang. Yeah, that's part of it. All my height is in my legs. So when like Matt Brown specifically, I look between Matt Brown and Tim Murray. They're the ones that I have the strangest side by side with because they're tall, but they're all torso. So we look really lopsided. It doesn't matter how high I lift my chair. I'm not even close.
It's pretty insulting.
You're well distributed, like, you know.
So we open the show talking about our bodies, and we close the show talking about our bodies.
What a time. What a world. That's a wrap for us today, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. As always, we will be recapping it all tomorrow. We didn't get into our Big 12 Heisman conversation today because we had that breaking Kawhi Leonard news, but we can pick that back up tomorrow. Lots of other good stuff. We'll be back same time, same place. Follow the Money's coming up next with Mitch and Paul.